Information fueled.
Opinion driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And welcome on in to your Friday, December 20th. Hope you're doing well. And I've got to start out the show here on this Friday just reminding you of what the media has been saying, the mainstream media and MSNBC and so forth, what they've been saying the last 4 years about Joe Biden.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
I mean, that, of course, is Joe Scarborough, and just one of many examples of the media defending Joe Biden's clear, rapid decline that now, as the Wall Street Journal reported yesterday, has literally been going on since day one of his presidency.
She knows so long as she was 9.
I mean, we've all heard the audio bites because they're everywhere.
Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
I mean, we saw him wandering around, clearly not fully aware of where he was going, what he was supposed to do. And we all said, talk show hosts across the country, including me, we said something's wrong.
You know who's most complicit in this?
Who?
The media.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I know. But what I mean is, like, there are reporters that go on the airplanes with him. They are on the airplane with him. They get to have first-hand interaction with him. Mm-hmm. And they clearly knew that something was wrong. And they brought it every day as if it's normal. Their stories about him were just normal stories. Nobody ever said, hey, we're in trouble. This is our country.
No, Joan, you're absolutely right. I mean, here's the media, when they refuse to acknowledge the obvious, when they refuse to actually ask questions, this is why they have no credibility.
I was sitting, 2 feet from him across the table, and he was, intense.
Had trouble walking sometimes? Yeah, so did FDR. He wanted GD war.
But he's totally focused. He's very sharp. They say he's sharp in meetings and so on.
Very lucid, very well informed. Biden is stately, and he comes with gravitas.
I cannot wait.
Stately.
Sharp as a tack. Yeah. That was the phrase to describe him.
Oh yeah, that was clearly the memo at one point came out. Remember, Joan, I don't know if you were with us at that point, but where it was clear that in the talking points, sharp as a tack.
Yes. And every outlet used the same phrase, right?
They actually did.
Yeah.
What's kind of funny is in that last soundbite, they're talking about Joe Biden's gravitas.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to think about is Joe Biden or any of his supposed gravitas.
Yeah.
This story from the Wall Street Journal. The White House tried to hide from the public Joe Biden's rapidly diminishing mental condition for his entire presidency. So from day one, Biden's team actually hired a vocal coach, put other officials into roles usually occupied by the president, scrapped meetings on his bad days, and kept him at arm's length from his own cabinet members. And the crazy thing is, we all saw this. We all knew this. But we were called ageists if we said anything.
And don't believe your lying eyes.
And don't believe your lying eyes. This is from the Daily Mail. An explosive investigation by the Wall Street Journal has exposed an extensive, deliberate, and years-long cover-up that also saw the administration gaslighting those who dared to claim Biden's abilities had deteriorated since he was Barack Obama's vice president. You know what I want to know? And we're going to have Jonathan Fahey on to talk about it. He's a big-time lawyer and so forth. Is there any charges that we could bring against anybody? And I don't know if there are, but clearly, if there were people complicit, and there were people complicit in having a president that clearly was, his faculties were just diminishing as we watched for the last 4 years. I don't know what charges could be brought. I don't know if treason is the right one. but literally the most powerful man on the face of the earth was losing his faculties. People in the White House knew it, and they covered it up. Again, I don't know if that's treasonous, but it sounds like it to me. And so remember all those times, and there were many, when the questions were asked about Biden's cognitive abilities, and we were told again, he's fine. And that we were terrible people and dumb to even think about all that. Despite the efforts of eager beaver, this is what they say. Despite the efforts of eager beaver handholders, Biden's decline became increasingly obvious, especially after the special counsel Robert Hur and his report last year when they depicted him as a forgetful and frail, then 81-year-old man. Hur decided not to charge Biden for keeping classified documents in his Delaware garage because he would likely present himself to a jury as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Do you know who was not well-meaning? The people within the Biden administration. Do you know who were covering all this up? Do you know who was also not well-meaning? As Jones said, the media. I want to see, and I'm dying to know, what Joe Scarborough has to say for himself this morning. F you, he said, if you can't take the truth. Start your tapes, he said, and we did. And so we have it on tape that Joe Biden clearly was not fit for office.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
A well-connected Democratic strategist confirming to Daily Mail. They spoke to 50 people. 50. And you wait, friends, you wait until Biden is actually out of office. Now, apparently word is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the two of them, they have canceled their plans to go home, wherever that is for either one of these two. Kamala perhaps back to California, Biden to Delaware. But they've canceled those plans and they're making their way back to the White House. Now, perhaps it's because of the budget crisis. I don't know. But there's a lot of questions being asked. A well-connected Democratic strategist confirming to Daily Mail that influence over Joe Biden has been concentrated by people who are not external facing, including his close advisors, Bruce Reed, Steve Ricchetti, and Mike Donilon. In other words, who is running the country? And this is a question that we all asked. Who is running the country? People not elected. And by the way, they're still running the country now. People that 99.9% of the country had no idea who they were. The Wall Street Journal, remember, we've reported on this earlier. The Wall Street Journal did an earlier piece on these suspicions. They had sources and they had great reporting about what we're hearing about this morning and yesterday when this came out. This is the second report from the Wall Street Journal. And the Wall Street Journal was viciously attacked. Details straight ahead, 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Parkway, that's exit 54. The accident is blocking off two left lanes, and it looks like there's more than one vehicle involved in that accident. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much. 5:15. As far as your weather for today, a high of 39, a low of 32, cloudy, no rain today. Saturday, a high of 40, low of 28, no rain. Sunday, high of 43, low of 26, no rain. 5:16, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, I do feel like there should be just a little bit of gloating from people like me who have been, and everybody else on this radio station, who have been saying for the last 4 years that Joe Biden is a dementia patient who is occupying the Oval Office. Wall Street Journal coming out yesterday saying that is absolutely true. They spoke to 50 people. 50. And obviously, this isn't the first time that we've heard these accusations. The Wall Street Journal reported this a while ago, and yes, they were viciously attacked.
Wall Street Journal running a horribly sourced piece saying that Biden is unfit.
Dubious Wall Street Journal report about the president's acuity.
Shoddy story by the Wall Street Journal questioning Biden's mental fitness.
Wall Street Journal story had a lot of flaws, as you said. But Sinclair, they didn't do any original reporting. They didn't follow up. They didn't do any work.
Right. And you know what's funny is that you have all of these media members who were ignoring what was going on at the time. And now they have to, I guess, I don't know if they're going to, but are they going to turn around now and admit that they were, as Joan said earlier, part of the cover-up? They say that Joe Biden's lower level staff have long griped that this secretive triumvirate, got three people, also known as the Biden Whisperers, developed an outsized influence over America's oldest ever president. As his term comes to an end, many in Washington agree that this has been hard to tell who is actually in charge of running the country. They've got egregious examples of the White House cover-up, included one relayed by Democrat Congressman Adam Smith. In 2021, listen to this. This is horrifying, knowing what happened with the failed Afghanistan pullout. In 2021, when Smith was chair of the House Armed Services Committee, he tried desperately to get in touch with Joe Biden before the bungled withdrawal from Afghanistan to share his serious concerns about the plan. His attempts were rebuffed. He was never able to get to Biden. When 13 U.S. service members and 170 Afghans were killed, Smith criticized Biden publicly and was reprimanded by Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Biden finally called Smith to apologize, which, despite his key role in Congress, was reportedly the only personal call that Smith received in the president's entire 4-year term. I mean, that is crazy. As a matter of fact, when you think about it, how often President Trump during his administration, Barack Obama during his administration, they were always talking to members of the House. And so that's not necessarily shocking given what we now know. But I'm going to repeat that. Biden finally called Smith to apologize, which, despite his key role in Congress, was reportedly the only time that he got a personal call during the entire 4-year term of President Joe Biden. Now, with all of this going on, the disasters in policy like Afghanistan, the terrible mistakes in speaking, the wandering, they were very secretive about Joe Biden. He rarely came out for interviews. The Democrats, they just kept on lying.
I'm not lying.
If there was,
I'm telling you a fact.
But if there ever is a problem,
Yeah.
do you think that you could go tell the American public? Do you think in your role that you're in a position to do that?
Of course, if necessary, but there's no need for that.
I mean, listen to the lies. Of course, that again, Kamala Harris, and she was being pressed, and she went on and said, yeah, there's nothing to see here.
There is a political argument that is being made that is not based on substance. And you're asking me to hypothesize around what are my duties to the American people as Vice President of the United States that are based on ethics and morals and the law. I will always follow those rules.
I mean, man, those comments clearly, simply put, did not age well. And so now my question is going to be for, somebody like Joe Scarborough and some of these other folks. What do they have to say for themselves now? Now that 50 people within the Biden administration have come out and said that they have been covering for this dementia-ridden president for the last 4 years. They've been gaslighting us for the past 4 years. And, there's a lot of folks, and I would agree that this is the largest presidential scandal in American history. 521 on Nashville News. By the way, coming up right before the news, the Jill Biden factor. She plays a big role in all of this, as you can imagine. Details straight ahead, and Joan Jones has the news straight ahead. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, we'll tell you which items were cut from that so-called skinny CR that still didn't make it through a congressional vote last night. And a popular discount store is going out of business and liquidating its content. You know what that means. There's a good sale going on. Those stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.